Welcome back, folks. My name is LastKnownMeal, and today we're going to talk about Cyberpunk 2077. So we finally have some proper news from the latest podcast on a German game magazine, GameStar. Now the podcast is, I guess, for premium users, so person on Reddit couldn't post the link itself to the source. I think I saw that Spotify has, that podcast, but I cannot verify right now. But again, it's GameStar. They are a well-respected German game magazine, so I don't doubt this information. First off, they said that the improvements in the level design are as big as they were from The Witcher 2 to The Witcher 3. And for all that didn't play Witcher 2, it wasn't really an open world game. It was divided into various places, even more than it was in The Witcher 3. In The Witcher 3 you have Skellige, Velen, etc, Kaer Morhen, so you do have huge open regions. They're kinda divided, but they're still huge regions. In The Witcher 2 you didn't have that, you had even smaller zones. And now, for Cyberpunk, they will improve even more on that, and you can count verticality into that. This is basically the first time that CDPR is going to really push the verticality even more than, just having a linear map. So you have to count in the verticality of Night City and the Badlands around the city itself. After that, they said that the game won't have those annoying battles from The Witcher 3, which, if you know, they're placed mostly around Skellige and far away from land, so you had to go into a boat to get them. It was kinda annoying, but with this they mean that they won't give you repetitive stuff to do because they learned from their previous mistakes. And it also seems they sent out about 700 workstation to devs because of work from home situation, so it seems that at least 700 people are working on the game. We kinda knew that, but obviously different people work in various stages of development. After that, they said that you will have about 3 times more ways to solve a mission than in The Witcher 3, saying to themselves, what is the dumbest thing a player could do? And how is this possible that the mission continues, which is smart to think about, especially in a game with various entry choices, etc. People will want to go and finish the mission in their own way. Basically, the only thing which is stopping the mission is the death of the player. They actually said the example where you talk to someone, get shot, and instead of fighting back, you run away and buy a hamburger, but the mission has to continue, which is funny because imagine having entire Arasaka on your tail and here you are running from them to stop and buy a burger and chill. Next up, they talk about missions you had in The Witcher 3, where you had to use the Witcher sight or the Witcher senses to kinda investigate stuff. And generally it was a bit repetitive. You follow the steps, you see someone, then you go there. It could be either the smell or the steps or blood. But it was a bit repetitive and it kinda turned Geralt into Batman, the investigator. So they actually tried to improve that later on in the expansions, but they said that they will work again on it for Cyberpunk, meaning that it won't be repetitive as before, but keep in mind, you have cybernetics inside of yourself, so obviously if you buy that, that will give you a skill to see enemies, to mark enemies, to scout out different things, so actually turning it into a useful tool. Now check this out. In The Witcher 3, they said there are some areas where NPCs don't really have daily routines. They kinda just, stand in one place or move around a little bit. But in Cyberpunk, they plan to improve on that by giving more than 1,000 NPCs handmade routines. That means everything from the morning when they get up to when they go to sleep. And I am not sure how they will pull this one off, but if they do, it will be one immersive city. Going forward, they talked a bit about quest design. They said they have no rules about how a quest is supposed to be. The only rule they have, if it's good, we expand it and implement it. And even today, they're still going through the quest again and again and again to polish it, because one thing that can break the game is if the main quest, for example, is glitched and you cannot continue. So obviously that has to be polished until the end. And that's also something they did with The Witcher 3. They played the quests over and over again to really see if there is anything that could ruin the mission. And that's not all. We have more news. The melee fight system we saw in the E3 trailer was not nearly as done as they wanted that to be. So they expanded the melee system a lot, which I am really happy about. Hopefully they show that on the Nicety Wire, I'm not sure, but they said that they were not happy with how melee was looking and they really expanded on it. And I like when melee combat has depth in a sense, by giving you a chance to parry, to block, to use various augmentations to make melee even more efficient. So this is probably the favorite thing for me from the list. Now, how about Cyberspace? Well, Cyberspace is a completely different thing than hacking. You go in and hack something, but Cyberspace, you need to enter that. That's proper net running, and inside you will be able to summon fantasy RPG-like creatures and warriors that can, for example, burn out other hackers. Now keep in mind, it's not really fantasy, it's more that each virus or daemon in a sense has a form of an avatar, either a mechanical worm with green eyes or hellhounds. It will take some form because it's cyberspace, it's not bounded by physics or rules of the normal world. So yes, the combat is going to be a separate thing inside the net from everything else. I'm glad that we finally know that we will fight inside the net, because I was a bit afraid that we won't be able to do that, you know, to that extent. So just this info expands the game even more, because right now, besides the real world, you have the cyberspace to go into and fight it. But that's not all. According to Skill Up, another YouTuber, it seems that Cyberpunk won't be available on Google Stadia on launch date. No date has been given, but they said before the end of the year. Now again, it's only Stadia. If you are on GeForce Now, it's available right away when the game actually releases, because they actually have to port the game to Stadia, and it seems that Stadia runs on Ubuntu system, but I am not someone who knows much about Stadia, so maybe some of you fine people know and can explain down in the comments. So yeah, we finally have some proper info to talk about. More is coming on the 25th of June with Nicety Wire, which I will restream. We'll have so much fun through that entire day, so don't forget to subscribe for more of that. And expect more news, because devs right now will go on interviews, they have the marketing campaign, they will be everywhere, so they won't hibernate again. Don't worry, the game is getting closer to release, and now they have to market the game, so of course you will get more. But that's all for today. Tell me down below what you think about this, and click that like and subscribe button for more CP2077 news and videos, and join our growing community on Twitter and Discord. I also made a Patreon page. If you're looking for an extra way to support the channel, check it out. And huge thanks to my current Patreon supporters and to all of you watching this video. Stay classy everyone, and bye bye.